Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Rocket Monday, we're going to talk about space perspective. So let's dive deep into it. So what's the idea here? Idea is space-like tourism. Let that be very clear. It's not actual space, it's just space-like. We'll discuss that further, but space-like tourism for cheap. That's the whole point. Now, be mindful. It's not cheap for you and me. It's cheap for rich people. So you start with a Blue Origin. That is the cheapest. SpaceX is more expensive than this. So Blue Origin will give ask for you like around 1.25 million freaking dollar to get into this basically. And I am really disappointed that I did not find a camera that had good dynamic range or lights. But it is what it is. This is from day one, Jeff Bezos and all that. And what if you're not that kind of rich, or you're like, do not want to spend that kind of money? You can go into Richard Branson's tool, this puppy, that is 450,000. Yeah, that's a lot of savings, but you may be like, yeah, that's still too much. I want to still be like, save some money. Then you can come to 125K. Now, this is what college tuition fees, so more than enough people can do this. Now, so you can see there is drastic cost difference. On top of that, it's a huge capsule. So in here, like, this is a bit of space. This is not that much space. And if you go into a Dragon capsule, really not space. So in terms of space, these things are not that spacious. This puppy is spacious. And the idea behind this is it's a balloon ride. So basically the capsule goes on a balloon over time, very slowly. It's like the rising speed is like 12 kilometers per hour. It's like very easy. They take their sweet time to it. And the expected time is around 2 to 3 hours to rise up to the upper limit. So it's a very slow and smooth ride. Now that is genuinely beneficial for many people. Why? It does not require training or health risks. For example, whenever you're talking about rockets, you are talking about worst case scenario of emergency escape system. So your body has to be robust enough that company has to trust it, where it's like, what, this body frame can handle 2G or 3G or maybe even 5G of shock. And even this is like supposed to, like, it's a plane, so many people may not be very comfortable with it. Balloon is like easy, bro. Like, you can actually sleep. Like, it's like easy, bro, easy. So for many people, like, many people become rich when they are old. So at that point in time, going into these sort of thing is like or even this is like and you're not going into SpaceX, because they make you almost a full-fledged astronaut at that point in time. Because again, once you are doing the orbit, once you are actually there in space, it's like oof. So we haven't reached like orbital tourism yet. These things are closest, and this is like, just sit down, we got this, sit down. So balloon based ride, it's very easy, and you have time in space. That's the most critical part. This puppy will give you a minute, 6 minutes, let's just say 6 minutes of 0G. And again, if you are that kind of person who's like, I want to experience 0G, you can do that. There are planes. Vomit Comet is a plane that gives you that ride experience. It can be done. There was a movie shot into this, Apollo 13, 0G scenes for actual 0G scenes. I always find it like, it looked so good. It's like, oh, it's actually shot in 0G. So you can experience 0G on Earth itself. This is 0G plus carbon line crossing. So double whammy. So if you are not satisfied with that, like, hey, I got the money, man, but I do not want to spend like, few minutes of floating around. I want to, relish in the views. I want to absorb it. That point in time, this is like, I got you, fam. 6 hours of time. That very clear. 6 hours. And they might even add a spa, meaning really high class. So let that be very clear. And it's cheap and easy. In contrast, many times like, oh, 125K again. Not for poor people, it's for people who are looking at this. They're like, only if it was a little bit less I can go. Then people who are looking at this, like, only if it was little I can go. This is like, okay, I get this. I mean, like, if I can't go in this, and then it's like, I'm a really poor person. So that's the idea behind it. So what does this space like means? It's very simple. It's not crossing the Kármán line. Kármán line is a humanly agreed term where it's like, hey, if you cross this 100-kilometer or 60-mile-ish kind of boundary, we consider you have reached a space. This does not go there. Flat out, fundamentally, under the known agreed laws of international borders, it does not cross into Kármán line. It only touches 30 kilometers. That translates to 1 lakh feet or 100K feet. So this puppy. Now here's the you will not experience any G-forces. It's a very smooth ride. So that's why, like, I can actually experience, like, if they took some children there, they might actually fall asleep. I'm not even joking. That would be interesting and cute. So to say, it's like, children are there. It's gonna take 2 hours. It's like they're sleeping. And again, the chair they have built is very comfortable. So I could see that happening. And you are not even going into orbit, because if you want humanity's answer to actual orbital tourism. Only SpaceX can do that. But you can see, like, this is not tourism. This is not comfort and fun and all that. This is freaking hard work with the training. This is not tourism. This is like, adventure sport is the closest thing I can describe to. It's like, you have to be hard, you have to be Batman. This is something what Batman would do. This is not you and me, even if we have the money. It's like, you're telling me that I have to, like, allot time to get trained, then get qualified, then get validated, then go into this. Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. I can print millions of dollars in that time. So it's a very early stage of technology, so to say. It's the point where a computer used to be in the 80s, where it's like you had to knew computer to use it. Now a computer is like computer works for us. Back in the days, you had to knew it. So it only touches 100,000 feet. Now, what does that mean? Why can this company claim, like, space? Like, well, they are using one of the mathematical realities that by the time you cross like 50,000 feet, majority of atmosphere is below you. And by the time you cross 100,000 feet, or the altitude of this puppy, 99% of Earth's atmosphere is below you. Meaning at that altitude, you do not just need oxygen mask, you need a freaking space suit. And again, you can see Baumgartner's jumping, and you can even see U-2 spy plane that was designed to operate at that level. They needed to wear a space suit. So not like, covers with G suit. No, space freaking suit. Very clear. Space freaking suit. And to give you a contrast of heights, your basic jumbo jets are like 40,000 to, generally they have a band, so to say, 35,000 feet to 45,000. That's the band where they can operate. Then you have Concorde. That was a bit horny, so it went a bit high up, and that was like 60,000 feet. And I've heard like some places it can cross to touch 80,000 feet. Now then you have the zone of like professional, high quality, high caliber fighter jet. So SR-71 was 85,000 feet. Non-classified. It may have crossed higher than that. U-2 was one of those that stayed there. There was one Russian MiG series, Foxbat, if I'm not mistaken, that was designed to touch 100K, but it was not designed to operate there. U-2 was the only one that was like, yeah, 100K, that's my operational altitude, not just like, no, it could stay there. Like, so you have to understand, you are so high up that normal people will see jets flying below them. Like, there is one photo is like that. Again, it's a CG, but I would expect that to happen once in a while, where, because again, 30 kilometer up, you have enough field of view that even if a flight is outside of your quarantine area, you could still see them. So you can, hey, jumbo jet. That would be awesome. Like, imagine from a psychological point of view, you're on up, you have giant windows, and you're looking plane going below you. That's good enough. That's for more than enough people. That's like, shut up, take money. So that's there. Fighter jets are barely touches it, and commercial airlines are like, bro, that's below you. Like, you have to look down, and you have to like, okay, I think this is the jet. So that's why the space, like, this is ideal scenario. But again, we are not ready for this. You cannot expect children to go into this. You do not expect even like, just old people who are rich, finally, they can go into this, because again, it's a very hard training and all that. So almost like they became competent space astronauts. It's like, yeah, it's not a hobby at that point. It's not something, I just went there. It's like almost like climbing Mount Everest. It's not comfortable. This, on a different hand, is like, yeah, it's a going into a, museum or art gallery. It's that kind of luxurious thing. So that's the whole intent behind it. So their spacecraft, or they call it Neptune, this puppy will be taking one pilot, aka captain, and 8 people who have the view, so to say. So they are kind of maximizing it. Only one person is paid and 8 are payload. So that's a very good, from an economics point of view, that's a good thing. And one of the largest window in the space. Before this, the largest window claim was in Blue Origin sand. This is handily much larger than that, like ludicrously larger. So the window is huge, like huge. And the biggest hurdle for them was window is huge. You are above majority of the atmosphere. Ultraviolet becomes brutal at that point in time. And even if they can have an air conditioning system, it will get overwhelmed if enough ultraviolet gets inside. And not to mention, it will age everything inside. Not only human skin, but even your leather, even if you have like, everything, specifically plastic, they do not like ultraviolet. So the glasses have a very specific ultraviolet coating, which again, be mindful, there are ultraviolet coating. You can even buy glasses, spectacles that have that. Having a ultraviolet that can work at that altitude, yeah, that's a very high premium glass. That's not basic glass, that's premium glass. So they had to develop a lot of technology, so to say, to get that sort of coating done. So they have that largest window, meaning this window is so huge you can stand and see. Not be like, okay, my half of my body is like, no, you can stand and see. It's like, bruh, I see it. And this is the whole idea of like two people, basically four couples. Or I could easily see if this company actually becomes successful where they are doing multiple runs of it, I could easily see they could have an executive class where they're like, okay, pilot is completely isolated and like this two chambers are like, couple chamber basically, so to say. Like how you have in Emirati crafts where you have like executive class. It's almost a freaking bedroom. Not even joking, bedrooms in Airbus A380. I'm like, damn. Like there is rich and there is like damn. So it has that sort of potential and you want that because again, price to performance ratio improves. So you'll be like, hey, I only have to deal with two people and now I'm getting boatload of money. Companies want that. So this has that sort of premium feel where they can actually sell that willingly. And it also has a toilet which you can use normally. Please Google where the heck toilet is in a Dragon capsule. Yeah, many people will just like the moment you tell where is the freaking toilet. Yeah, no. Many people are like, no. This is like, hey, there's a whole chamber. You can properly poop. 100,000 feet above, you can poop normally. You can't even do that in ISS. Why? Because ISS has 0G. You need a vacuum pooper. This does not require vacuum. You can properly poop like a normal person. It's like, yeah, just pooping highest altitude known to humans, but that would be very interesting. So they have that. And again, they could add a spa system there where you can just like, really enjoy it. Again, luxury things. It can be. Now, what gas they are using to go there? Again, almost all weather balloons have to use hydrogen. Hydrogen gives the best lifting capacity, and on top of that is cheap. You have to understand helium. It does not give you lifting capacity, and it's very expensive. So you have to recover it also. Yeah, that's not viable because the balloons that they are using is single use. And yes, you heard it right, single use. You blew it up, it goes, you come it down by draining it, and then done. You recycle the material. You do not reuse it. You do not refill it. It's far more economical to recycle the material and do that. And yes, this company has built a whole factory, so to say, just to build the balloons itself. Because again, balloons will be considered a consumable item. How normal things consume fuel. Let's say fuel becomes a consumable. Here, balloons are consumable. Every trip will require one balloon. So that's there. And what's this size? Well, the size is 4.9 meter, almost 5 meter ish. So it's a big puppy, and it has 60 cubic meter of pressurized space. So there is more than enough space to do some stuff here. And I can actually see like somebody could celebrate their birthday and like, there is scope here. Like it's that's a different thing you have to understand. Even though Soyuz was like a washing machine with people inside, and Dragon is like, police box with people inside. This is a bit bigger. This is like, a bus, I would say. So it has a good amount of space for stuff, and not mention very good views and very good Wi-Fi. So all of those is there. Highest normal bathroom so far, as I have figured it out so far yet. And it has 4 parachute for emergency backup descent, meaning when they're releasing hydrogen, something happens, the balloon gets poofed or something happens, some disconnect happens, it has 4 freaking parachutes. One of them is enough to do rough landing. 2 of them, nobody cares. 3 of them like smooth. 4 is like extra. It's like exactly how space capsules go through. And it has like, you can figure out like the top areas, it has environmental and thermal control, because again, this puppy will require a lot of cooling. Once you are above atmosphere, the heat that gets inside you because of the optical radiation, it will not leave you. So that's requires a very oomfish air conditioning. I would be really curious to see how big is their batteries. And they are saying avionics and power on the bottom side, which kind of makes sense. If you're going to put bonkers amount of battery, you want to put below center of gravity. And this cone is a splash cone. Basically, it's designed in such a way that the moment it touches water, water fills into this bottom area and creates an anchor. Because again, this will not go under, it's an airtight system. So this will create a stabilizing anchor. That's why this is there. The chamber is the round part. This part is just additional add-on to make things more stable in the seas part during the landing. 8 passenger, 1 captain, and on top they also have I'm pretty sure it most likely it would be 1 ground link and another Starlink for Wi-Fi and all that. So this is the Neptune craft that they are doing. World's highest toilet. So what about their progress? Claim is free, but what about the progress? They started in 2019, so not that long ago. And Jane and Trevor, this 2 gentlemen, basically this couple, they are doing it, and they have good credibility, so to say. One of them, or both of them, if you depending how you counting it, yeah, worked with ISS and stuff, and worked on life support, NASA grade life support. They're sorted. They're sorted. So by 2021, they did the first dummy load test to show the people that, again, can you actually do that? Because again, weather balloon is a normal thing. We know this, but weather balloons generally carry kilogram. Even the spy balloons, they are very rarely carry 50, 60 kilograms, hundreds of kilograms. This puppy are planning for 15 tons. So that's a big scale up. So they had to show that it can be done. Yes, it's just a normal mathematical thing. It can be done. This is not that big. So they just did that. And by 2022 June, they announced the ticket prices. That was 125K per seat. And surprisingly, more than enough people signed up. I'm really poor, but that happened. And by 2023, they had a mass scale working, like this sort of scale figured out. And by 2024, again, the original plan was that in 2024 they're gonna have the actual testing, but I would give them pandemic timeline benefit. So they are saying that by mid 2025 they should be able to do it. If not, by end of 2025 they should start paying customer. And this has actually happened. This very recently, a few days ago. I have linked the video down below. You can see they actually launched the full scale stuff. Like actually launched it. It did everything it's supposed to do. So that was the, and you were like, why the heck cord is so long? The cord is so long enough that that's the place where they put the parachute. It's for safety, because again, it could get tangled if it's like very close to the body. So they're like, okay, let's give it some distance. And that's there. Again, that's what they have talk about it. And they have a lot of camera modules and all that. And you do need good Wi-Fi connection. Rich people, they need their Wi-Fi. So that's there. And they have a roller mechanism that allows the balloon to be properly unspooled in order to, properly inflate it. And they do land on the sea, which is the only weird part, which I do not get. Like, you would like to want to land it in a boat, so to say, because again, seawater, no matter how good your material is, you shall not touch seawater. But I think this is the best they could do. So progress is surprisingly good, given the fact that they only started in 2019. That's like good. So what about the future? Well, here's the this technology, this idea of making a giant weather balloon, it has significant potential. It is like, if you are a country, you should invest into it. Like you have your own country, have your own ecosystem, build this, because it's beneficial on so many ways, so many fronts. Is that first, it gives you lower cost space to them. Again, money recovery option, that's good. Another aspect is, how do you test your optics? Specifically, that optics goes into lower observation, or even almost all space. You put it here, because majority of atmosphere is below. It's like, it's one thing to simulate in a computer, oh, this is how the lens will look and all that. Is like, hey, put it here and test it. How does it look? Because again, a majority of atmosphere is below you, and you will get some real world, real data as like how it's working. You want to like, hey, I want to test the satellite antenna and all that. Again, put it 30 kilometers up. Majority of atmospheric attenuation will happen on that. So atmosphere attenuation, that basically loss of power of the atmosphere, you can simulate it realistically. So just do that. Like, from a test bed point of view, it's mind-bogglingly useful. We do that, like that's a normal thing. That's why weather balloons are used, but they are so small, so insignificant. It's even a time when they need recovery, they have to do very clungy, so to say, apparatus of like, what if you have a glide parachute, then we have GPS beacons. This is a full-fledged control unit. This one does not have like propulsion, but it can be added slowly. If you are willing to take your time, you can actually go places. It cannot be like fast and furious, but it can be slow, and you can travel where you need to with just on solar power. So it's not that, wow, how would you that do? It's an easy thing. So it's a perfect test bed for optics and emergency mobile towers. For example, some bad things happen, flood, tsunami, earthquake, whatever have you, take your pick. Something bad happens, you can easily float these puppy on top of that and just have an emergency mobile tower like this. This is a 5G mobile tower on a normal system. Here you can have much bigger capacity, and again, you can even use this rather than like bouncing back, this puppy bounce back, you can have this puppy directly bouncing to Starlink. So much potential is there, especially once you scale it up. And once you know a company, hey, I can pick up a phone, company is just there, they're like, I got you fam, I got you. Again, they are working very specifically to make sure that they can mass produce the balloons. Their idea is to mass produce the cabin also, because again, they're expecting that kind of flow. I'm not sure they will get that, but again, the balloons will be consumed a lot. So they have sorted the balloon part, and again, hydrogen gives them that benefit. They can just make the hydrogen. So that's a very good, any defense technology. It's like, hey, sir, we have this radar. How would you test it? You can test the best you can do, but at some point you have to put it on an aircraft, which again is expensive. What if you put it here? Just put it here. Just let it be. And again, imagine from a researcher's point of view, you just like, instead of as a luxury yacht, like you have the same structure, you have the same sphere, you just like, okay, let's yeet all the windows, which are expensive, have few windows. Again, you do want some level of comfort, have bunk beds, like people can actually stay there, high altitude researchers. You can do so many things. You can do so many research in so quickly. For example, solar panels. Solar panels are very fragile in space. Like, why? I thought like space would be awesome. It is. It's just there is a minor issue that you go through shadow of Earth. So you go from frying from the sun side and getting frozen on the shadow side. Frying, frozen, frying, frozen. So it does not last very long. And you must have seen ISS just got a secondary boost, basically a solar panel, and then there is new solar panel to give them power. Solar panels do not last as long as you would think it should last in there. So here you can test it. It's like, hey, have it on an arm that rotates slowly, 22 minutes. Now, is it exact same temperature delta as a vacuum? Hell no. But is it better than anything you can do on ground? No. Then like, why don't we do in ground? Yeah, the chambers that can do that, like true simulation, idiotically expensive, like bonkersly expensive. Here it's like, bro, we can just like mass test it. Like this could be a preliminary test where it's like, okay, let's preliminary. And if something fails here, don't even bother putting it. So from a test bed point of view, that goes to that altitude. So much research can be done. Again, you can be like, hey, let's build a spacesuit. How would you test it? How people are comfortable? This is a chamber that is big enough that people can do some exercise. You can expose it to vacuum and you're like, okay, let's do it. They're like, okay, we have this system that, again, in a Dragon capsule, they had that. They had a venting system. They had a sealing system, a repressurizing system. All that system could be tested here safely, cheaply. So there is more than enough value. Even with just as a tourist point of view, tourist would be just the starting point, and then you can just milk value out of it. Oh, we have this new radar technology, put it there. We have this missile technology, put it there, test it. So there is, like, from a defense point of view, this is shut up, take money. Any country that is not doing this, they're losing out. So this is very amazing, clever use, so to say. So this was my presentation on space perspective. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.